This is the Cave of Creation, and this is some default terrain. Let's fix that. When we did the Cave of Creation project, I lightly smoothed over all the edges. As you can see here, it was always meant to be temporary. And today is the day we come and we finish the south side of the rim. As some of you might remember from the world tour, we built this giant custom forest stretching all of our starting area. And hopefully by the time this project's done, we will have a new custom forest that is arguably better than our first one. In today's episode, we're going to be completely re-terraforming the south side of the Cave of Creation, so we're going to cut about here, stretch all the way down to where the birch forest begins, which is right here. So it's going to be this giant cube, probably about the size of the desert, or about the size of a mountain. And you might be wondering what massive biome I've cooked up for you guys, and today we're going to be making a massive stone garden. Today's episode is going to be focusing on the stone part. We're going to be doing all of the base for the terrain and doing all of the massive stone obelisks that are going to surround this entire build. Now, the reason for me splitting this video into two parts is if I was to not split this video into two parts, I think it would take over 3 months for me to finish this project, so I think about 2 1.5 month segments is going to be perfect. But don't you guys worry, I have not shortchanged you. This is going to be so epic. Starting this project off strong, we need about 10,000 acacia wood, and I am not a fan of gathering this block, so today we're going to be building a farm for it. Now to block gather for the farm, this farm actually called for 10 stacks of white concrete, and before you say it, I know you can substitute blocks in these, but it's more fun for me just to stick to the source material. Now for a quick block gathering montage, we needed the 10 stacks of white concrete, we need 5 stacks of redstone dust, 3 stacks of pistons, 2 stacks of sticky pistons, 3 stacks of white stained glass, and then a bunch of other little things, a lot of like 5 to 10 different redstone components, like 14 torches, 14 note blocks, 6 blocks of redstone. As a whole, nothing else in this build was actually too complicated in order to gather, so let's get on with building this tree farm. Hopping back over, so this is all 3 shulker boxes of things we need. Now this extra row of stone is just going to be for me to scaffold around. I'm going to go take these over to the industrial area and we will start building this. Now a special quick shout out to Stream Penguin as he spent his Sunday morning mining out a giant hole for us to put this farm. So that's right, if you guys want to watch me mine out giant holes in survival, come say hi over at twitch.tv/peacefulpenguin. But he's gone ahead and planned out this entire thing for us with a beacon in here ready to go, so we're going to go ahead and build this tree farm up. Now there are other tree farms that allow you to grow more than just 4 types of wood, but the reason I chose this specific one is we like to have an individual farm for almost every item in the game. A lot of these other farms require you to memorize different combinations in order to use them for specific things, and for us it's just easier to have one farm, one thing. While you're watching me build this tree farm, I want to address a couple really common questions I keep getting on all my videos. So that hologram you saw right before I started building is Schematica. I keep getting questions about it. I'm surprised by how few people actually know about this mod. Essentially every large YouTube Minecraft creator you'll see all uses this. If you ever see layer by layer building, it's always using this mod. Basically it allows us to design stuff in creative mode and then port it over into survival, which really helps minimize the amount of wasted time looking back and forth between the two, and it allows the quality of the builds to be significantly higher. The other thing I think I've seen like 50 comments on asking about is why are mobs not spawning on our world, and yes, we have a mob switch. We have around 220 zombified villagers in a box somewhere on the far outskirts of our world. Dropping into the industrial storage room, now that the tree farm's done, we need to grab some bone meal, but we've been AFKing the moss farm. So we are good to go. That is a lot of bone meal. Let's just take, I don't know, yeah, 6 will do. So this farm actually ended up being like crazy efficient, and I was able to gather all the remaining acacia wood really quickly. I did have to do one more trip for bone meal, and I have expanded the bone meal storage now so I can do longer AFK sessions, but I'm really happy with this farm. At this point, you guys know the drill. We need 22,000 green concrete, so oh, no, I need that. Let's go ahead and throw a pork chop through, and then let's go place in the 12 green powder. So now that the chunk loader's loading, we're able to turn on the concrete duper and go ahead and AFK 22,000. Look at it majestically flying. Alright, I'll be back in just a second, hopefully with all the shulker boxes needed for this. So we actually ended up getting a little bit too much, but that's alright. A little bit extra never hurt nobody. When we're block gathering for these projects, a lot of the time we like to gather a couple shulker boxes extra of each one. And then if we ever need to do little touch-ups or other little projects, normally we already have everything gathered. But our next step here is going to be to turn all of this into concrete, so I'm going to go and AFK the concrete creator. So after we finish up this step, that is all 22,000 green concrete done, and we're able to move on to the next block. Next up, we need some smooth stone, and we only have about do we have any more? Oh, we actually have a lot of that. So so we have 7 there. I need 13, so we need another 6. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 6 shulker boxes of stone, which is no problem for us. Take it over to the forge and get this all smelted up. As we're flying over to the forge, you'll actually notice some things are looking a little bit different. Cybark is currently working on his Mega Snow Ice project, and this is going to cover this whole area and it's going to be super epic. It was why I never showed me covering up all of the forge, is he was always planning on doing a big build on top of it. Dropping into the forge, it is time to turn on the super smelter, so I'm going to go ahead and start the carpet duper, put the minecarts running, and then we're good to throw in all of the shulker boxes of stone, and we can see the forge will have been lighting up. To be honest, I think there's going to be a clip in every video that I have where I need to smelt items where I come over here and then I just sit here and talk about it. So this is the super smelter I made. If you guys like this, there's a new video out as of a couple months ago where I built this thing. Make sure to go check it out. I think I did a pretty good job. Making another quick stop at the industrial storage room, we need 13 shulker boxes of light gray wool. But we've been AFKing this, so that is not a problem. That's 10, 12, 13. Perfect. And we're back in the industrial storage room again. I realized I need 41,000 moss, and despite me having AFK'd this for a while, as I said earlier, we're only at, how many is that, 16? No, wait, yeah, 16. So I'm going to go ahead and AFK the moss some more. Heading down this tunnel, we're going to slip through the right underneath the curtain, and this is where our moss farm is currently hidden. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the moss farm, and end up just sitting here AFKing it for a while. This thing produces quite a lot of moss, so hopefully it won't take too long. So it has been a few hours, and I think we'll be good. Yep, there's plenty in here now, so I think we need that many. Perfect. Alright, that is moss blocks checked off. Now, this is arguably one of the top 3 biggest items in it. The other 2 largest blocks getting used are actually grass blocks and stone blocks, but I don't actually know how many of those we need, because when I was gathering the schematic of the area, I obviously grabbed a bunch of default terrain, so in those it's just full of completely solid stone and dirt. Coming back to the industrial storage area once again, I realized I needed 12 boxes of green wool, and dang it, that's only 10. So we're going to be AFKing once again in this general area. Hopefully we'll have that done here in a second. Hold up, before we go AFK, let's see, do we have any? Oh, let's go, we got another 2, so we're actually perfectly sorted with green wool. Let's go ahead and place that in. While I'm heading over to place this in, I just wanted to quickly say that if you guys like my projects and you think I do a good job, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. My end of year goal for this channel was actually to hit 5,000 subs, and at the time of posting this, I think we're going to be clearing over 20k, which is just absolutely insane. The amount of love you guys have shown me over the last 4 months has been absolutely mind-blowing to me, and as long as you guys keep liking my projects, I will make sure to keep doing them. So moving on to terracotta gathering, thankfully this build isn't too heavy in terracotta. We need about 18,000 lime terracotta and we need about 6,000 green terracotta, bringing us to about 24,000 total terracotta. So in this clip I've gone ahead and mined all 24,000 terracotta that's needed, and we'll just go ahead and dye all this and place them in. Now you might have caught on that all those terracottas are actually based on green dye. And one fun thing we've done with this is where we smelt all of our XP, we actually have hidden a box down here. Where is it? Is it this one? Yep, full of green dye that gets refilled automatically from the furnace array. And after speeding through the re-dyeing process, we now have the 4 shulker boxes of green terracotta and all of the shulker boxes of lime green terracotta. Next up, we need 8,000 pale moss, and I think, if I'm correct, I've been told that I can just... Didn't want to break that, but I can break that. Where did my redstone dust go? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I've broken a lot of things, guys. I'll get this all fixed, but what I've been told is that I can just break those moss blocks, replace them with pale moss, and then this should then create pale moss blocks instead of moss. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 3 and fix up my farm that I just broke. I'll see you guys in a bit. And perfect, just like that, a lot of moss blocks are getting made, and everything appears to be working correctly. After a little bit of AFKing, we've successfully gotten all 8 shulker boxes of pale moss. Next up is 11,000 tuff, or about 7 shulker boxes of it. And I think we might have some left. Perfect, we got 9, so we're good to go. I am running low on tuff though, so I will have to be gathering tuff probably on my next project. Next up, I need 6 shulker boxes of jungle planks, and to do that, I've just gone ahead and brought over a ton of bone meal to load up our old industrial tree farm. And this should be way more than I actually need to get this job done, and then I'm going to go ahead and do some AFKing. And so now all 6 of these boxes are all jungle planks, and that is another block checked off. As we get towards the end here, I need 5 shulker boxes of coarse dirt, and I don't believe we have that much, but we do have a bunch of gravel, so I'm going to go and grab 2 of those in like a row. And then do we have a bunch of dirt? Yes, we got plenty of dirt, so I'm going to grab another set of that, and we'll craft up the 5 shulker boxes. And these are the last 3 of the 5 shulker boxes of coarse dirt done. The next couple blocks we need are 4 shulker boxes of deep slate, and I think that should be no problem. Yep. 3, oh, there's 5. How many do we have with this? I only have those 2 rows. And then we need 3 of diorite, but we are slightly short on diorite, so I'm going to have to go mine some. As it turns out, my math was actually wrong, and we only needed 2 1/3 shulker boxes of diorite, so we got that all covered already, which is awesome. 4 shulker boxes of deep slate done as well. Moving on, we needed about 3 shulker boxes of smooth basalt, and the best way to do this is just to make a little quick basalt farm, so this is a shulker craft basalt farm. And we are back over at the super smelter, and it is time to run 3 boxes of basalt through the system, and then that will be smooth basalt done. And wrapping up the block gathering step, we are over at the other industrial moss farm that we have. This one is solely a bone meal farm, and it runs into arguably the most complicated farm on our server, which is this rooted dirt farm. By coming over here and activating that, I am able to turn on the rooted dirt farm. Essentially, it looks for trees to grow, and then it pushes those blocks to the side and blows them up. So the rooted dirt farm is really slow, and it actually ended up taking multiple nights of AFKing to get all of the rooted dirt needed, but I think we have enough now, and it's going to be within like a stack or 2, but I think we're good to go. Lastly, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of default terrain in this schematic, and I don't know how much of these I need, but I'm just going to go ahead and grab 5 shulker boxes of stone, 5 shulker boxes of dirt, and 5 shulker boxes of grass blocks. And if we end up needing more, I will be able to come back down here and grab another set, so it shouldn't be an issue. And I think with that, we are ready to start building this project. With those last default terrain blocks gathered, we are officially ready to get going with this, and that is our final block count for the first stage of this. Everything all in, I think this is about 250,000 blocks, give or take probably 5 to 10,000, because I'm not exactly sure with the grass blocks and so on. But now that we're done block gathering, it is time to go ahead and prep this terrain, as this terrain is going to have to change quite a lot. This mountain, for example, we need to remove it. And while I'm tearing down this mountain, I want to give you guys a massive announcement for the channel. I have officially partnered with Havoc Host, so there is a code Peaceful Penguin if you're interested in getting 15% off their services. And on top of that, they've been kind enough to offer me a community server for me to run for you guys, so I'm going to be booting up a plot server. My hope for this server is that if you guys are Patreon members or Twitch subs, you'll be able to get in contact with me, and I can come out there and help you guys actually work on your builds or give you guys feedback on them. I would love to eventually start doing like a weekly stream where I come and hang out and just help you guys build better. I want this channel to become kind of like a mini educational series for people and a help resource for the community. And coming back to the build now, as you guys can see, I finished the river and we've started working on the actual terrain style. Now at the start I had these giant rocks on just a flat smooth hill, but after messing with it for a while, I thought actually putting it on top of what looks like other stacked rocks would be really cool. It was at about this point though I realized that trying to do everything with one inventory just was not going to happen. I had to have like 30 blocks on me at any given point. So I put a pause on actually working on the rocks, and I went and just started filling in all the area between them. So as you can see here, this is like our dirt pattern that's going in now. In the future, all of the massive trees are going to sit only on this dirt part. I think this is probably the most unique rock in the whole area. It's designed to be an archway that overarches the river, and it's meant to be kind of like a giant gateway into the Cave of Creation one day. So when I was designing these rocks, basically the process for it was I made out these giant block shapes and stacked them up with just stone cubes. Then I went in and melted off all of the corners of the blocks to kind of give that more circular feel to them and make them feel more weathered. Following that, I went in and added a layer of moss on all of the edges around, and then I went and hand painted all of the weathered effects on each one. I think on stream we had like 5 days of just me painting rocks. I think the weathered effect though turned out undeniably good. I think it really encapsulates like the water dripping from the moss on the edges. For this project I ended up having 3 medium rocks, 1 really large rock, and about 5 smaller rocks. So as you can see here, this is medium rock number 2. Another couple things I wanted to quickly mention. I tried to make it look like the rocks were dispersing from the center, so as you get farther away from the center, the rocks break up more and more, so we'll have more and more forest. I think this will work perfect with the village because the village will counteract that, so even though there's more open space, we then fill it up later. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the end of the river, you'll notice, is not at all complete towards the side where it points into the Forgotten Forest. This is because Cybark has a build plan to slot in there, and he's going to do an Abandoned Ruins build, and he'll deal with that part of the river. So I was only looking at carrying the middle part of it from there to the Cave of Creation into the waterfall that we already had there. And then I think this terrain would have been really boring if I kind of just slowly sloped it from the high point, which is the edge of the cave, all the way down to normal default terrain level. So I went in and added 3 little cliffs all around to try and make the change in terrain height more interesting. Next up here, we're doing the 3rd medium-sized rock. After this, we're going to start doing the south side cliff and all of the general little rocks around that area. These rocks actually took a really surprising amount of time to make. I think each of the medium rocks took me around 2 to 3 hours of in-game time. Moving on here, we're making the largest cliffside in the entire thing. This is what stretches the entire south side of the build. On the other side of this cliff, this whole area will be redone one day. Cybark has a giant swamp build he wants to make one day, and that is going to sit right against this cliff and fill this whole area in. Moving on, we're going to be filling out all the little holes throughout the south side of this build, all of those squares where all the rocks need to go. I actually did all of this in one session. I think it was about a 6-hour session to do all of the south side of this build, but now that it's done, it's great to look back on it. And with this last rock, the south side's done, and we get to move on to the main attraction, the biggest rock in the entire build. You know, you're starting to push the limits as to what you can do when a single rock takes the entire day and an entire live stream to finish. This rock alone has 43,000 blocks in just the shell of it. That's the equivalent of over 20-something shulker boxes. Funny story though, when I settled on this build style, this was the very first rock I made, and I did not realize quite how large it was. And after a while of messing with it, I decided that hey, I really liked it and I was going to keep it, but then I had to scale everything else down to make this build manageable. Now before we really get into it, I want to show you guys what it's going to be like when we leave our storage room now on the south side. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think there are some things that could definitely be improved, and I think all of these will be dealt with when we come back and we do part 2. So the main things are, obviously this looks very, very plain right now, and I've talked about it a little bit throughout the video, but in part 2 we are going to be coming in and making this actually a redwood forest instead of just a rock garden. Now looking around at the rocks, you might be wondering where all these trees in my new forest are going to be going, and all of these dirt patches are meant to be where the trees will sit. So when we look at all this, the trees will fill all of the gaps and surround the rocks. Now, I have thought about putting trees on top of the rocks, but I don't think it would look good because obviously these massive redwood trees I have planned, I have designed one of them so far and it's over 85-90 blocks tall, and a tree that size will just not work on a stone platform. It requires an area for its roots to grow, and I think the best way I can deal with this is to fill all these gaps in the dirt with them. To give you guys a better understanding of what kind of trees I'm working on, here is the one tree design I have made so far. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I really like the gradient in the leaves going up to the light colors. And for part 2, I'll be making a ton of these trees as well as working on a custom village. Another thing that's quite fun with these trees is each one is over 2100 blocks, so it's over an entire shulker box of blocks per tree. Now, if any of the things I've just talked about, including the village and the trees in the part 2, sounds interesting to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out and it means the world to me, as well as you won't miss out on the epic transformation happening in part 2. Once again, the whole weekend after this video comes out, I will be live streaming designing the village that sits in the middle of this grove right here. So if you guys have any ideas or inputs as to what you think I should do with this, make sure to come over and say hi. I'll be designing houses the entire time, and I'm really interested in hearing what kind of ideas you guys have. There's been a ton of things around my world that have all been implemented by you guys, so make sure to come say hi and give me your feedback. Currently, I'm thinking something along the lines of 11 to 15 houses all scattered throughout the middle here with bridges over the river. I'm gonna try multiple designs. I'm gonna try a standard fantasy house design, and I'm also gonna try a house design where it looks like carved rocks or maybe stacked rocks. I think that could really fit the vibe and be really cool. Apart from stopping by the live stream, if you guys are unable to do that, make sure to comment down below what kind of house designs and stuff you think I should add to this. I read every single one of them, so I love getting your guys' feedback. Hopping back over to creative, I wanted to make one last little detail to keep this video more interesting. So I went ahead and designed my first village guardian. This is called Grok. We're going to have 2 or 3 of him around the village, and they're going to be what protects the villagers from everything else. He's meant to be your friendly little rock golem. I'm really happy with how he turned out. I think he is absolutely adorable. And now coming back to the storage room, I'm going to have to do a little bit more block gathering to make the last 3 little rock golems. So I'll see you guys on the other side. From block gathering to building, these guys actually only ended up taking me about 2.5 hours to build, and you guys might be wondering like what I do during that time. Funny enough, I watched K-pop Demon Hunters, and it was actually a banger. Those songs are now stuck in my head. But as one might say, these golems are golden. And as we're starting golem number 3 here, we decided that it'd be hilarious for him to be sitting down, so I went and retextured his legs and made him sit. And just like that, we now have 3 little rock golems protecting all of the pathways and entrances into what will become the village one day. So the way I'm envisioning this is that the path will kind of come up here, maybe snake its way through, kind of go between his legs, then into the village area up here. By popular vote on the stream, this little guy has been named Grok, but we are missing names for the other 2, so if you guys have any other really cute names you guys want added to our village, make sure to leave them down below. But now that it's night, we get to see what they kind of look like at night. This is golem number 2. And lastly, golem number 3, who happens to have a very funny face. Now, I want to know whether you guys think I should keep that or not. I think it's, like, absolutely hilarious to have it, but I'm not sure if it takes away from the build. But now that we've finished up the project, I get to go ahead and clean up all of the shulker boxes once again. And in our last video, we made our awesome new storage room, so if you guys are interested and you haven't seen that, make sure to go check it out. But basically, now all I have to do is take all of these completely full shulker boxes, drop down here, and I can get all of these unloaded automatically for me. I just have to throw them right into this box, and all of our blocks will be sorted. I love this system so much. Another thing I went ahead and did is I updated the world map for this area, so now there's this whole new biome getting built. Now obviously I'll have to go in and re-update all of this once I add the trees, but that shouldn't be too bad, and I look forward to doing that next video. And now that I'm done with this project, I thought I'd give you guys a couple really quick B-roll shots of the build, showcasing a couple of my favorite angles to view this build from. Now this build definitely went through a lot of different design choices while I was working on it, but as a whole product at the end, I think it turned out pretty cool. And I have done some quick test fits with a bunch of trees on it, even though I don't have all my tree designs made yet, just with the single one, and it looks fantastic, so I can't wait for you guys to see what that looks like. But with all that being said, that is another massive project done. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you guys think I earned it, there's this new hype feature on YouTube. I'm really curious if it actually benefits us at all. It's a little way for you guys to be able to support smaller content creators, so make sure to go down and hit that hype button. I'm really curious if it'll boost this video. But apart from all that, there's a link in the bio if you're interested in getting any of the assets for this build. I have all my schematics available for download, as well as a link to join the Discord and a link to my Twitch stream where I'll be designing the village this whole weekend. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your day, and take care.